Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking one of the absolutely most remarkable corporate success stories of 2026. You know, whenever we talk about this massive AI boom, it's so easy to get totally swept up in the magic of the algorithms, right? The software, the big-name chip makers. But here's the thing. There is a completely unseen physical infrastructure making literally all of that digital magic possible. And today, we're going to shine a huge spotlight on the hidden giant leading that exact charge.
It really comes down to one simple question. Who is actually building the AI internet? Because while the headlines are constantly obsessed with cloud providers and semiconductor giants, there's a very physical reality to artificial intelligence. AI doesn't just, live magically in the ether. It lives in massive data centers. It relies on miles and miles of cables, connectors, and high-speed interconnects. Without this hardware, the entire AI ecosystem just grinds to a total halt.
To really understand this incredible growth, here's our roadmap for today. First, the hidden AI giant. Then, record-breaking Q2 results. Third, the connectivity revolution. 4, game-changing strategic acquisitions. 5, rewarding the shareholders. And finally, we'll wrap up with the future outlook. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive into this with Section 1, the hidden AI giant, Amphenol, trading under the ticker APH. Moving right along to Section 2, record-breaking Q2 results. We're talking about their massive July 29, 2026 blowout. So let's start right here with the top line of that blowout quarter. Amphenol is the global leader in interconnect systems and cable assemblies. They are essentially the vital circulatory system of the AI revolution. And that position? Well, it led to a staggering $8.8 billion in sales for just the second quarter. That represents a massive 55% increase in US dollars compared to the exact same period in 2025. But actually, here is the most impressive part of all of that. 30% of that was driven by organic growth alone. This tells us their core business is thriving from the inside out, not just expanding because they bought up other companies.
And right on the heels of that massive sales figure, we have an even more important number. $10.7 billion in record orders. This translates to a 1.23 to 1 book-to-bill ratio. Now, if you aren't familiar with that term, it basically means that for every single dollar of product Amphenol actually shipped out the door, they received $1.23 in brand new orders. It's a wildly powerful indicator of future revenue that is already locked right there in the pipeline.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how that massive top-line growth is translating directly into immense profitability. Just look at the GAAP earnings per share, hitting $1.37, which is up 59% year over year, and their adjusted EPS reached a record $1.35, marking an incredible 67% increase. So they aren't just selling more stuff, they're actually becoming significantly more profitable while doing it.
Which brings us to this absolutely mind-blowing statistic. A 29.8% record-adjusted operating margin. Let me put this in perspective for you. When you're a software company with near-zero marginal costs, right, a high margin is totally expected. But Amphenol? They're manufacturing physical, tangible products, connectors, cables, heavy, high-tech assemblies. Achieving a nearly 30% operating margin in physical manufacturing means they are operating at a level of scale and efficiency that is, quite frankly, genuinely extraordinary.
Section 3, the connectivity revolution, powering the AI boom.
So what's actually driving all this? Let's break down Amphenol's IT datacom business. That's the specific segment providing connectivity solutions for these massive data centers. Look at these growth rates. 89% year-over-year growth, with 63% of that being entirely organic. In fact, these AI-related products were the core engine that drove virtually all of the company's 22% sequential business growth from the prior quarter. It's just explosive.
CEO R. Adam Norwitz summed it up perfectly on their earnings call. He noted that while they saw strong organic growth in most of their end markets, the growth in the IT datacom market was, in his exact words, exceptional. The sheer volume of physical infrastructure required to support modern generative AI is just pushing their facilities to absolute peak output.
But what makes Amphenol uniquely brilliant in this space is their incredibly broad connectivity portfolio. They offer high-speed copper interconnects, advanced power solutions, alongside both passive and active optical technologies. And why does this matter? Well, because it means Amphenol doesn't have to place a risky bet on a single AI architecture or a single tech path. Whether a data center relies heavily on copper or shifts aggressively over to fiber optics, Amphenol is the one supplying the parts. They're essentially selling the pickaxes and shovels to every single miner in the AI gold rush. And, unlike the software guys, they don't have to worry about a hallucinating chatbot ruining their day.
Moving to Section 4, Game-Changing Strategic Acquisitions and Their Aggressive Expansion Strategy.
You see, Amphenol hasn't just rested on its organic growth. They've deployed a really aggressive expansion strategy. Their recent crown jewel was a colossal $10.5 billion acquisition of CommScope's connectivity and cable solutions business, which brought 20,000 new employees into the fold. So, the crucial point here is how quickly this is already outperforming expectations. Originally, it was projected to bring in $4.1 billion in sales and add 15 cents to adjusted EPS for the year. But they've now bumped that up to $4.6 billion in sales, and they've literally doubled the adjusted EPS accretion to 30 cents. The integration has been surprisingly, almost shockingly seamless.
But of course, they didn't stop there. During the second quarter, they strategically acquired datacom in Italy and Wilder Technologies out in Washington state. datacom brings in $150 million in annual sales and really strengthens their grip on the industrial, defense, and aerospace markets. Meanwhile, Wilder Technologies, even though it's smaller at $15 million in sales, provides highly specialized test and measurement solutions for that all-important IT datacom market. Together, these moves perfectly illustrate Amphenol's commitment to continuous geographic and market diversification. It's a land grab, and they're winning.
Let's hit Section 5, Rewarding the Shareholders, looking at returns and splits.
In the second quarter alone, the company returned a massive $515 million directly to its shareholders. Breaking that slice down, they deployed $208 million to repurchase 1.5 million shares of their own stock, and they paid out another $307 million in dividends. It's a fantastic dual-pronged approach to driving shareholder value.
Furthermore, recognizing their surging share price, the board of directors approved a 2-for-1 stock split on August 6th, which was distributed to shareholders in early September. This means the upcoming Q3 dividend shifts to 12.5 cents per share post-split. Now, a stock split like this, it's a massive green flag. It signals immense confidence from management that the company's valuation is going to continue to climb, all while making the shares way more accessible to everyday retail investors. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why investors are so thrilled right now. Just look at the 2026 year-to-date performance. Amphenol is up nearly 50% for the year. That is completely crushing the broader technology sector, which sits at a very respectable but comparatively much lower 30.3%. The market is absolutely undeniably recognizing the immense value of the physical layer of AI.
Finally, Section 6, The Future Outlook, looking over the horizon.
With such an incredible first half of 2026 behind them, what on earth does the rest of the year hold? Well, if you thought the Q2 numbers were big, take a look at their Q3 guidance. Amphenol is projecting sales between $9.3 and $9.4 billion. That's a 50 to 52% increase over the prior year. They're forecasting adjusted EPS between $1.40 and $1.42. What's absolutely incredible here is how thoroughly they are crushing Wall Street's consensus estimates, which were hovering way down around $8.6 billion in sales and $1.26 in EPS. Management is openly forecasting mid-teen sequential growth in their IT datacom sector as these massive AI investments just accelerate even further.
Let's move to and see how this builds. When you put all of this together on a timeline, it builds an undeniable narrative. Looking at their blockbuster 2026, you see a company firing on absolutely all cylinders. From the massive CommScope acquisition back in January, to the record Q2 blowout and strategic M&A in July, straight into the stock split in August, and now, poised to report massive upgraded Q3 numbers in October. The momentum here is practically gravitational. It pulls you in.
Which brings us to our ultimate takeaways from this explainer. The consensus for Amphenol's 2026 earnings is now $5.25 per share. That represents a 57% jump year over year. Now, yes, the stock definitely trades at a premium right now, but investors are more than willing to pay up for this supreme level of quality and execution. Ultimately, what Amphenol is proving to the world is that in the era of artificial intelligence, the companies building the vital physical infrastructure are every bit as valuable as the companies writing the code.
We've seen how Amphenol is dominating the hidden hardware layer of the internet. But, it's a massive ecosystem out there. So I want to turn it over to you. Which AI infrastructure companies are you watching right now? Think about those physical builders making our digital future possible and let me know. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep exploring the fascinating structures beneath the tech we use every day.